Hi there, this is Lara from Elliott Wave Forex with your free US dollar index Elliott Wave analysis for the week ending Friday the 9th of July. I'm going to start with a quick look at an historical wave count going back 3 years for the dollar. So we're looking at primary degree waves. We had a 5 waves down for primary C, followed by a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up for primary 1, followed by an expanded flat correction for primary 2, ABC, and now we're working on a 5 waves up for primary wave 3. A target to the upside for primary 3 to end. It will reach equality with wave 1 when the dollar reaches up to 91.91. However, it seems more likely that it will be longer than 1, and 1.618 is a good Fibonacci relationship between 3 and 1, reasonably common. So that would see the dollar rise up to 102.87. Taking you now to a daily chart where we're just going to look at this last piece of movement here from this maroon 2 down here, which is down here, and here's our more recent dollar rises, a more up-to-date chart for you. 5 waves up at minor degree to end intermediate 1, ABC down for intermediate 2, 5 waves up for intermediate 3, ABC down for intermediate 4. A nice example of alternation here. 4 is a deeper correction, 2 is a briefer, shallower correction. One of the things I don't like about this wave count is the brevity of this intermediate degree wave. However, the reason why I've labelled this as 1 and the following as 2 is here's our first 5 waves, nicely contained in a trend channel drawn using Elliott's channeling technique. We have a breakout of the trend channel to the downside. Therefore, 1 is over and 2, the next in the sequence, 2 follows 1, is underway. So I'm using Elliott's channeling technique pretty strongly here. Likewise, wave 2, intermediate here, or whatever degree you want to label it, this wave, ABC, is obviously clearly over when its little trend channel, again Elliott's technique, is breached to the upside. If we were to contain all of this upside movement to try and contain it in a trend channel, it just doesn't work. You can't draw a trend channel around this comfortably using Elliott's or any other technique that I'm aware of. A best fit leaves quite a lot of empty space either above or below. Again, likewise, this piece of movement here nicely contained in a trend channel. This is actually not Elliott's technique, just a close approximation. This is a trend line first from 2 to 4 and a parallel copy placed in the high of 3, which according to Elliott should be placed on 1, but that doesn't contain most of this movement. This trend channel, a little bit wider than it would otherwise be, does nicely contain this upside movement. Obviously, a clear breach to the downside. 3 is over, the next in the sequence, 4 follows 3, is then underway. When we have, therefore, a breach to the upside of this little parallel trend channel to the downside containing what I have labelled here as intermediate 4, then however you want to label it, this downside wave will be over and the next wave in the sequence will then be underway. This wave count has an invalidation point of 82.2 because wave 4 should not move into wave 1. I have an alternative where this piece of movement here, the labelling is all moved down 1 degree, and here it is, just a slight difference, still having intermediate 1 finished here and intermediate 2 finished here, with 5 waves up for another minor 1, 2. So we have 5 waves up for wave 1, ABC down for 2, and then within 3, 5 waves up for 1, ABC for 2. We should be working next on a third wave at minor degree, within a third wave at intermediate degree, and remember this is all within a third wave at primary degree. Third waves are the longest and strongest waves, exhibited by this piece of movement here. Here's the day of the fat fingers somewhere in here. That's the kind of wave behaviour we should be seeing for the middle of a third of a third of a third of all those wave degrees. So if this interpretation is correct, then wave behaviour will show us in the next couple of weeks. Taking you now to the hourly chart, where this B and C, as labelled here, is this B and C down here. Here's our 5 waves down for wave C with a 1, 2, a nice strong 3. I'm really comfortable with labelling this as a middle of a third wave here. 4, 2's a deep correction, 4's shallow, a nice alternation. followed by an ending contracting diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4. We still need one little push down to end the final little piece to the downside. The target for this may lie between 83.34 and 83.51, which is falling short of the other target that I had, which is 82.71 in my last analysis. Now we're closer to the end, we can be a little bit more accurate with those targets. It's fairly likely it may come to rest around this lower pink trend line. I've drawn this little channel around this diagonal. This is the only time you're going to see a third wave labelled ABC as an ending diagonal. All of the subwaves of a diagonal must break down into zigzags. This one here really obviously pretty cleanly a zigzag. This one, you can count it a couple of different ways. If you just want to count the waves, you can find a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which is a corrective number. So either way, there's a zigzag in here, most likely a correction. And this, very, very obviously, a zigzag, and it has an overall count of a corrective wave structure with another ending contracting diagonal within this C wave, within this third wave, within this ending contracting diagonal. This one, really obviously, a corrective wave. We should be seeing another zigzag to the downside to end that wave 5. It is possible it could be truncated and it may not reach a new low for the dollar below this point here, although that is less likely than it makes a slightly lower low to that little target zone I gave you. Wherever it ends up, we have imminently coming up, probably fairly early next week, hopefully sometime next week. I've been waiting for this one all this week. We should be seeing quite a major trend change for the dollar that should see it definitely making new highs below its previous highs, going up towards those targets I gave you on that historical chart, with corrections along the way. But we should be seeing a major trend change for the dollar. It's either a minor or intermediate degree that will see the dollar in an overall upwards trend for the next 2 weeks or more. So there's my analysis for you of the dollar. I think we've got a tiny little push down before we see that trend change. I do expect that trend change is getting closer every day. I really would expect to see it earlier rather than later next week. I hope this helps you when you're trading, and I hope everyone is having a fabulous weekend.